Real people, real opinions.
Real Talk Radio. The multi-award winning Niall Boylan Show.
Ireland's classic hits.
As you know, we're now into the end of the first week of the trial. We're getting close to the end of the first week. Tomorrow was the last day, of course. The 33-year-old man accused of murdering Aisling Murphy. It's been continuing this week before the Central Criminal Court. Joseph Puska from Nanally Grove, Mucklagh, Offaly, has pleaded not guilty to the school teacher's murder after she died along the Grand Canal in Cappancure, Tullamore, County Offaly on January the 12th, 2022. Now, reporter Andrew Louth has been following the proceedings at the Central Criminal Court this week. And earlier on, he spoke to my producer, Jane, just to catch up with not only today, but yesterday as well, and what actually happened. Just to warn you, by the way, the contents and details some listeners may find distressing. So I am giving you a little bit of a warning on that one.
Hi, Andrew. We last spoke on Tuesday. I know a lot happened yesterday. We heard from 8 witnesses, I think. Obviously, we can't go into all of that right now, but I would like to hear about one witness in particular, if that's okay. So Miss Jenna Stack.
Of course. So Miss Jenna Stack was the first civilian witness to be called by the prosecution. Now, she told the jury that she had arranged to meet her friend Aoife Marin, who we also heard from later on yesterday, to go for a run on the 12th of January last year. And she left work at around 10 to 3 that afternoon. She said they had planned to do a 7-kilometre run, so that was 3.5 kilometres along the Grand Canal in Tullamore in County Offaly, and 3.5 kilometres back then towards their cars. And while they were on their run, a bike which had a luminous green handlebars had caught Miss Stack's eye, and she described it as being pushed down into the hedgerow along the banks, which she thought was odd. And she said that she had wondered what it was doing there, and that she and Aoife Marin continued their run, but they didn't get too far before they were caught by the sound of rustling. Now, Miss Stack told a jury of 9 men and 3 women that her friend told her that she thought there was someone there. She took a closer look and could see the back of what was described as a navy padded bomber jacket. And Miss Stack said that she shouted at the man, who was crouched down, "Are you okay?" and then asked, what are you doing? She said that the man turned around and that his teeth were kind of grinding, and then he said, "Get away." And Miss Stack said that she could see a girl underneath the man, describing him as leaning over her, covering her body and holding her down. She said that she couldn't see his hands. Now, she said that she could see the girl's legs and that she was wearing tracksuit bottoms and bright coloured runners. And Miss Stack said that the girl was kicking so hard and describing her as strong, and was doing scissors kicks and raising her legs really high. Now, it was at this point that Miss Stack said, "Get off her," and the man made a sudden move as if to frighten her and her friend, it was alleged. So Miss Stack said that she and her friend ran away as fast as they could to try and get help. Now, defence barrister Michael Bowman put it to Miss Stack that Joseph Puska was trying to assist Miss Murphy, and Miss Stack replied that that wasn't her impression, and later added that the man could have asked us for help. Mr. Bowman also put it to Jenna that Mr. Puska could not make out what she was saying, and he did not intend to be aggressive, and that what Miss Stack heard was Mr. Puska calling out in pain after his leg got caught in briars that were down along this hedge road area along the Grand Canal. And Mr. Bowman said then that he had been instructed by his client that Miss Murphy was holding Mr. Puska's forearms because he was trying to stop the bleeding in her neck. And Mr. Bowman asked Jenna Stack if she could see that, and she said no, and then specifically said that she knew that there was something wrong. She said that she could tell by the girl, and that she alleged that the man was holding her down, leaning over her. And she specifically said that she saw enough to know that she was kicking her legs in a completely distressed state, and adding that Miss Stack describing herself as feeling terrified.
And we know that those 2 witnesses essentially went on to get help, and that was what we heard from yesterday. Moving on to today, I know that we heard from Gardaí who first arrived at the scene. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so Garda Tom Dunn was the officer from Tullamore Garda Station who took an emergency call on the 12th of January 2022 at around 3:30 or 25 to 4 that afternoon. And he and his colleague Garda Shane Hunter both went to the scene where they saw two cyclists who pointed them in the direction where there was a body of a woman. Now, Garda Dunn said that they both alternated, that's him and Garda Shane Hunter, they both alternated applying chest compressions to the body as they had earlier thought that there might have been a faint pulse. Now, the jury were also told that there was a phone in her jacket pocket, as well as a saved car key and a necklace around her neck with the word Aisling on it. And he saw sunglasses on the slope down towards where she had been. So later, Detective Sergeant David Scahill gave evidence that Garda Tom Dunn was kneeling down in the hedge, and Garda Shane Hunter was also halfway down, and he could see that they were talking. He could see Tom Dunn doing CPR. He said he could see a female down there, and it was Detective Sergeant Scahill who asked if there was a pulse, and in response, he said Garda Tom Dunn said he wasn't sure, but he thought that there might be a faint one. And so they, Garda Tom Dunn and Garda Shane Hunter, were alternating applying chest compressions for about 10 minutes until paramedics arrived. And when they arrived, the decision was made to bring the body up onto the footpath. And Detective Sergeant David Scahill said that they assisted in helping bringing Aisling up to the footpath. And he then told the jury that when they were bringing her out of a ditch, and this is where some of the evidence could be potentially quite distressing to some of your listeners. He said there was an awful lot of blood. He said that her hair was very matted with blood, and he described her mouth as being wide open. And Detective Sergeant Scahill said that stuck with him.
And then this afternoon, we heard details of Aisling's post-mortem examination.
That's right. So state pathologist Dr. Sally Ann Collis conducted a post-mortem of Aisling Murphy at Midlands Regional Hospital in Tullamore on the 13th of January 2022. So she said that it was her conclusion that Miss Murphy died as a result of stab wounds to the neck with no contributory factors. Dr. Collis said she found at least 12 sharp wound injuries, 11 of them stab wounds as outlined earlier. And she said that these were caused by a knife or a similar implement. So she also said that it wasn't possible to completely exclude potential compression to the neck. She said she's always concerned about pressure when it comes to neck injuries, but she did continue to say that it wasn't possible to say that there was also pressure on the neck due to the bleeding. Now, she also told the court that there were some injuries to Miss Murphy's fingers, and she said that they may have been defensive in nature, as Miss Murphy may have held up her hands to try and protect herself. And when she was asked by prosecutor Anne-Marie Lawler if Miss Murphy would have been able to speak, Dr. Collis said she did not think she would have been able to speak or at least make intelligible sounds. Okay, and so that's kind of where we ended today, was it? Yes, that's where we ended today. So we are due back tomorrow morning. The extent of the evidence that we are due to hear tomorrow isn't clear. So, but just to kind of refer back to what the prosecuting barrister Anne-Marie Lawler said in her opening statement. She said that the jury of 9 men and 3 women can be expected to hear the evidence of 2 women who it's alleged Joseph Pushka was cycling in close proximity of on the day that Aisling Murphy died. And she also said that the jury can be expected to hear from a number of other Garda witnesses in relation to events that took place after the death of Aisling Murphy. Now, that's not to say, that's not me saying this is what's going to take place tomorrow, but it's just that was what the defence or the prosecuting barrister Anne-Marie Lawler outlined to the jury in her opening statement on Tuesday. Okay, and then just finally, I know that Miss Murphy's parents, Raymond and Kathleen, her sister,
Amy and her brother Cathal were again in attendance. Was the courtroom packed?
It was. It was a busy courtroom, as you said. Ashling's parents, her brother, and her sister were all in attendance, and there was also some of Josef Pushka's family members in attendance as well.
Okay, so we'll talk to you again on Tuesday. Thanks, Andrew.
Thanks, Jane.
There you go. There's Andrew Louth, the court reporter, talking to our producer, Jane, earlier on today, just giving you an update on the trial and of the killing of Aisling Murphy. And again, just to mention, Josef Puska is the man who's accused of her murder but pleaded not guilty. Anyway, we will be following that. We will give you a bi-weekly, so to speak, report on that as well and let you know how that's going on. He will be on with us every second day just to give us a little bit of an update with Jane, because I know a lot of people are very interested in this case and making sure that justice is done.
Real people, real opinions.
Real Talk Radio, the multi-award winning Niall Boylan Show.